shout out to Shaq for finally calling it like it is. And it's a lot of players. There's a chosen few players, Shaq, Barkley, there's a few players that actually call it the way it is. This era NBA that we're witnessing right now, and especially for those of us that can compare it to eras of the past, as far as how soft it is. This let's just face it. This NBA is soft as hell right now. The whining and complaining after every play. You can't even, like I said, you stare at a player too long, you're ejected. Technical foul. And all these LeBron fans out there that carry his water for him, he'll never be thirsty because y'all always carrying the water for him. And like I mentioned in videos of the past, the human body, it doesn't matter how blessed you are in your genetics, the older you get. Speaking of professional athletes, professional basketball players, every era at the end of the game, you always saw big blocks of ice on their knees. Like I said before, why don't LeBron ever have to ice his knees? Now, a lot of people don't want to go over the edge and talk about certain things because, to be fair to LeBron, no, he hasn't failed any kind of test. So, but we can speculate. We could put our index finger on our temple and be like, that's odd. Even Dwayne Wade, his running mate in Miami, even he had big blocks of ice wrapped around his knees at the end of games, because the natural progression of a player as you age doesn't matter how many muscles you have, how much cardio you have. The ligaments in your knees get straight, weaker, more elastic. That's just my thoughts on that. That is it 100% out of the realm of possibility? We don't know. Because players of the past, I often bring up Lance Armstrong. He passed like over 500 PED tests before finally caught up to him. Baseball, Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, Andy Pettitte, Roger Clemens. We never would have thought. When the conversation came up back in the day, we was like, oh, you're just a hater. Hater term wasn't thrown around so loosely back then, but it was the same mental gymnastics. So for him to dominate this era, it's not surprising at all, because everything is in the favor of LeBron. Everybody being so soft and everybody's feeling so soft, you can't even criticize them. Check out these few clips.
NBA's become like too sensitive and political.
Oh yes, very, very sensitive, very soft, very political. But and I hate this term, but people say this is the era we live in. So I guess we have to accept it.
You think the NBA?
Nah, we don't have to accept it. We're gonna keep calling it for what it is: soft butterscotch pudding era. We're gonna read some of these. This article is by Basketball Network. Let's read what the Shaqster had to say. Definitely it's less physical. Shaquille O'Neal thinks LeBron James' longevity is a byproduct of playing in a soft era. Yeah, definitely agree with that. The Diesel doesn't think LeBron would have lasted this long if he played in the 80s and 90s. Hell no, he wouldn't, because back then, literally, football plays was allowed. You wouldn't get ejected from throwing an elbow to somebody's rib, like blatant elbow, as if you were in the WWE. It really wouldn't be a flagrant foul. The only way, because I used to see players like, bow, right in the ribs, bow, be a regular foul. And if the other player retaliated, bow, they get scuffling and throwing punches. Hey, then it would, free throws for you, Tech. And then both players would still be allowed to play in the game. Nah, not in this NBA. Nah, this is why what Ja Morant running around doing, and he doesn't fear Adam Silver. He looks at Adam Silver as a punk, a chump. Like what are you gonna do, dude? This is how he's like, man, he knows there's no real repercussions. You mean like, oh, you're gonna suspend me for 25, 50, 60 games and I still get paid from endorsements? He might not get paid by the NBA, but them endorsement checks are still large as hell. Some big ass checks. So it's like, all right, shit. I'm still a millionaire, multi-millionaire, many times over, generational wealth. and I don't have to do shit now. So what you think he gonna do? He don't care, man. These dudes don't care, and that's why this era it's soft from many different angles. Many different dynamics make this era the softest and the worst NBA era in the history of the league. LeBron James and Vince are the only players in NBA history to play at least 22 NBA seasons. But while Vince was running on fumes in year 22, LeBron continues to play like one of the best players in the league and is fighting for the All-NBA spot. Longevity and the ability to sustain greatness over that period of bronze main argument in the never-ending greatest of all-time debate. Nobody in history of the game has played this great for as long, and in doing so, King James has shattered many all-time records, including Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's all-time scoring mark. The sandcastle is built for this type of king, LeBron James. However, NBA legend Shaquille O'Neal is not impressed with LeBron's longevity. During the latest episode of the Big Podcast, subscribe to Shaq's podcast. He'll hit you with some stuff that make you think like this, because a lot of us, we've all been looking at his longevity with the side eye for various reasons. And this era is so soft. It's like, how you think about it, how hard would it be to dominate this era? Can you imagine Shaq in this era? He would be able to, and they probably would force him to want to step up on a jump shot. And even if he's not shooting threes, who gonna stop him in the paint? You surround Shaq with some 3-and-D players, guys that can shoot and play defense. So they out on the perimeter, locking down on the shooters, follow them all over the court, long arms, tipping passes, blocking shots. And then on the other end, you have nothing to do with Shaq. You don't want anything to do with that man. You have nothing that can stop him. Just, okay, that's just the two, right? Two, bow, dunk on your brain, while the perimeter is being locked down with shooters that can also play D on the perimeter. Shaq would murder this era. And they want to, LeBron want to talk about how Giannis would score 250 points in a game in the 70s. If MJ was in this era, he would average 50 points a game, because he would look like his mentality, and Kobe too, as far as they couldn't do nothing with Kobe. Kobe put up 81 points with these, with LeBron in the league at the time. 81 points. So you put MJ in this era where you can't even look at players too long without getting attacked. And his mentality would be of the time he's in. So if everybody is, great at shooting threes, he would take that as a challenge. Like, these dudes is better at shooting threes than me. I can't have that. Y'all saw how petty he was with flipping coins with the security guy at the stadium. Used to be called the stadium. It's you newbies know it as the United Center now, but at the old Chicago Stadium. It didn't start in the championship days. He been doing that with guys he knew, flipping quarters, he was that competitive. So imagine him looking around, him playing in this era, in his prime. He's looking around like, holy crap, Steph Curry, great at shooting threes. I can't have that. I'm going to be better than Steph at shooting threes. That's how he naturally thought. He was wired like that. So you put him in this era, but he would be MJ, the GOAT. I'm telling you, the way he thought, he would take that as a challenge. Like, okay, Steph, I bet you I can shoot threes better than you. And he would work tirelessly day and night, further and further on the perimeter. Like, okay, you could hit threes from the logo. All right, I'm gonna work on that too. It's the mentality plays a big part in the lack of aggressiveness in this NBA era right now. Definitely says Shaq. It's less physical. Right now, you get a flagrant foul, you get fined and get suspended. Like, guys ain't fouling hard no more. When I played, it was crazy. But even before, like the 80s going to the 90s, it was probably more physical then. Yeah, it was. A kid watching NBA all through the 80s, 90s, up until this day we live in. So I've seen all-time greats, and I've seen what they had to go through to get to that level of greatness, how competitive it was, how guys was playing, they was playing for their team and to not get embarrassed out there. And if it got chippy, so be it. You had guys in full-on fights on the court and wouldn't even get ejected, Each team shoot their free throws, play ball. That couldn't be this era. These niggas is too fucking soft. In the 1980s, the Detroit Pistons thrived as the bad boys and went on to win back-to-back NBA titles in 1989 and 1990. Meanwhile, the New York Knicks and the likes of Anthony Mason, Charles Oakley, and John Starks brought a similar vibe during the 1990s. Aside from physicality, old heads also criticize current players for sitting out games and teams for implementing load management schemes to rest their stars in particular games. So they obviously had to throw that little insult against the old heads, as they call us, because we've seen guys play 82 game seasons, 30, 40 minutes a night without missing games. But you guys want to claim that these players are more athletic and more gifted. Yeah, but they fall apart much more easily. This is why they need load management, because their bodies are always falling apart. And y'all want to claim that this is the most athletic and gifted era in NBA history? I say it's the softest. That's why your king lives in a sandcastle mentally. And it affects the whole league because he's the face of the league. And a lot of these guys look up to him. So now they are demonstrating the same characteristics. Load management. Oh, this is such a great thing. No, it isn't. I tell you what, y'all want to load manage, then ticket prices should be cheaper for the games that the stars load manage in, because the product is less valuable. So why am I paying for a premium product, but you're putting out the Temu version of it? Let's go back and negotiate that. Let's look at that. However, after the late former commissioner David Stern decided that the league wanted to promote offense over defense, the rules were changed in favor of offensive player. That's why the hand check is gone. The flagrant foul rule was instituted, and a hefty fine and suspension program was put in place. But to credit James' longevity with all these is childish. Very childish. You know what's also childish? Hoisting this man up on a pedestal as one of the greatest of all times when he's had all of the advantages that none of his predecessors had working in his favor. And this is why he's able to play so long. But nobody wants to talk about the obvious. While the one-time MVP dismissed LeBron's lasting greatness, three-time Sixth Man of the Year winner Lou Williams recently talked about how genetics, hard work, and a $1 million yearly and getting his body in shape have helped King James sustain his greatness for over 2 decades. And it's a damn shame you got a grown-ass man calling another dude a king. What the fuck is wrong with y'all? And he already said when he went on a Pat McAfee show that he don't know where that came from. People saying he pays $1 million, $2 million on his body. People just ran with that lie. He already debunked that, Lou Williams. So what are you talking about? Y'all LeBron stans. Y'all LeBron toe jam eaters. Y'all just want to make up this myth and these stories to hoist up this mythical man that we can obviously see with our eyes what's really going on here. And we're not going to speak on it right now. We'll let Chael Sonnen speak on it, because obviously LeBron is afraid of him. He can make all kinds of accusations, and LeBron won't say nothing, won't send his legal team after him or anything. I wonder why. I'm going to leave a link to this article in the description box down below. You guys can read it in its whole. Basketball Network. It's just, and Lou Williams is not the only one that constantly keep spitting that lie. You guys let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I'm going to put a link to this joint down there. You guys can check it out for yourself. And yo, Shaq, salute to Shaq. And salute to Charles Barkley, because these dudes are apologetic with their opinions and their assessment of the game. They know. They played against Kobe. They know. They can sense the difference. They see the difference in the NBA and how soft it is right now. But you guys let me know what you think. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. This is Shy Out of Town Sports, and we are out of here.